Welcome to the View with the Pew, a view from the pew, the view from the pew.
Got it.
And
you got it.
There's your microphone with Reich Plekas and my co-host, Bob Monserrat. I am all tongue-tied today. It must be something in the water. It was probably that multi-level marketing call that I just had there moments ago.
I think so.
MLM. That was Andre Crittenden, who is going to be live in Worship and Warfare on October 25th here in Des Moines at Burns United Methodist Church, 1909 Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway at 7:30 on October 25th, where Angela Lewis is the pastor there. We are delighted that you tuned in today here at 99.3 FM radio and also The View from the Pew with Reich Plekas, with Bob Monserrat, my co-host. And we are delighted to have all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, a special guest who steps up to the plate and brings it like no other. I'm going to call him Dr. Bishop Pope Cardinal Meacham Lamar Clark. How you doing, Saint?
Man, I'm doing all that. I don't know who those bishops and popes and stuff are, but I am doing pretty good.
You know who all those people are because I was watching your video of you from Verizon Wireless, How Sweet the Sound. I saw your robe on with your little elbow patches on, and I said, Kirk Franklin got nothing up on Meacham Lamar Clark.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
And I have to tell you, my co-host Bob Monserrat in the studio, he's not creeping on you or anything, but you're going to end up getting a friend request from him because he sends a friend request out to everybody that's on the show. So just say yes, okay?
No problem. I got it.
How you doing, man? How's it in Jacksonville today?
Man, Jacksonville is incredible today. Of course, Jacksonville is hot 1 minute, cold the next minute, raining 1 minute, and the sun is shining the next minute. So it's typical, but everything is going great here. Just getting ready for our Christmas event.
I hear that. Now you have a huge Christmas cantata coming up. Tell us what's going down.
OMG. Every year, my choir, we do a community-based, community-geared celebration called the Christmas Cantatas. And we invite everybody out to come and worship with us. We have music from anthems to traditional gospel to classical gospel. We have dancing, we have skits, we have dramatic presentations, we have orchestra, we have horns, we have everything. And we have 2 hours worth of a great time during the holiday seasons. It's December the 15th here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm waiting on a confirmation now to see if it is going to be streaming this year.
All right.
This time we usually do it a ticketed event. But this time I just made the decision, okay, I want everybody to come. So yeah, we're just going to make it free. So yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We got some great music planned. We got some really, really big stuff coming up for that event, and I'm excited about it. Really excited.
So is it just your choir, or do you have other area choirs that participate? Other soloists? Who all joins in with you?
I usually I have other people. I can only release one guest because I usually do the surprise guest thing. All of my guests are confirmed, and I'm going to really highlight this one particular guest because they're my favorite. I wouldn't tell them that they're my favorite because they're the youth choir at my church, and then they'll kind of bug me every week.
Meacham, you just said that they are your favorite on the radio.
Oh no! Wait. Well, if they're listening, please don't believe me. Don't believe me. But no, seriously, they are my favorite. It's about maybe 60 kids. And, you truly, choirs are really kind of rare nowadays. And truth be told, youth choirs are very rare nowadays. But they're my favorite. They remind me when I was in the youth choir. So they're one of my guests, the Bethel Baptist Institutional Church youth choir, also known as the One Way Crew. They're going to be my featured guest. I might as well go ahead and tell you the other guest, Vicky Ferry. I don't know if you had the chance to meet her. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I think you came out and, well,
right.
Sheldon hooked me up with her, and then you hooked me up with musical attributes, and yeah, you guys you made the Dwayne Woods event Dwayne Woods. That's all I have to say about that.
But Vicky's opening that night. It's gonna be. I have one more guest, but they're surprised. I keep saying that, and the more I talk, I'm probably going to say who they are. I'm going to hush. But that's it. We're gonna rock out with us 4 guests, with the 3 guests, and us as TP. We're gonna rock out. I have a guest orchestra, horn players, dancers. It's just gonna be really good.
Tell us about TP, True Praise. How did you birth that choir?
Well, first of all, my group's name is True Purpose.
Oh, Purpose. I am so sorry. You know what? I talked to so many people. I am so sorry. I knew that. True Purpose.
I heard that you were kind of tongue-tied earlier. I was like, yeah, he's having one of those days. I had it like
It's these Christians with multi-level marketing schemes. I mean, scams.
Oh,
I mean, schemes.
Yeah. So listen, True Purpose is 3 years old. We're 3 years old. I think, honestly, and this is going to sound so unfair, but I am so honored to serve such an incredible group of singers, minstrels, songwriters, artists. I have people in my choir that are very diligent about ministry, about the community. True Purpose is comprised of about 40 singers and about maybe 10 musicians. And we come together maybe once every other weekend. We come together, we share together, we laugh together, we worship together, we pray together. We do a whole lot together. But one of our focuses that we've kind of garnered over the past 3 years is the highlight or the bold being on community as a community choir. So we're just a choir that really we want to represent our community, but we also want to serve our community.
And you did so this year at the Verizon Wireless How Sweet the Sound experience, correct?
Gosh, yes.
Tell me and tell especially the Midwest, because, and I can only say Chicago because I'm always at the Chicago How Sweet the Sound Gospel competition. But tell the people of Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, what the How Sweet the Sound experience was for Meacham Clark and True Purpose. What it was like.
It was mind blowing to us. It was incredible. It really, if I can be really honest, it really challenged us to do some different things. I have a community choir, and truth be told, I don't know if anybody's seen the video. It's difficult to get some of my 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds on the ground. It was an awesome experience. We saw some incredible choirs. It was just the camaraderie, the audience. It was just electrifying. The whole How Sweet the Sound staff. It was so helpful. The experience. It was just great. The thing that we loved about the Verizon How Sweet the Sound gospel choir competition most was the outreach initiative they had for the Hope Line to collect the cell phones for domestic abuse and domestic violence. The fact that a lot of choirs participated in not just singing on stage, trying to be the winner, but almost, everybody committed to collecting cell phones to help, people that struggle with, a cause that needs to be corrected. And it was just fun. The road trip was fun. The entire show was fun. The judges were hilarious and very helpful. Of course, the Yolanda Adams and the Donna Lawrence were just awesome, incredible, and it was an awesome experience. It really was.
And how many people were in your choir for that group?
I remember 30. I took 30 that time.
Okay. And since your choir is 3 years old, is this people that have been participating for the past 3 years, or do you have people audition for that particular event? Truthfully, those are the people that are with me every time. I have 90% of my choir. I would say 85-90% of my choir have been with me from day one. About a few of them have come over the years. I have auditions at the beginning of the year every year. So I've had 2 sets of auditions since we started. Everybody, we didn't do special auditions just for that. That was my choir. That was just us regular True Purpose people. All right. And how long have you been conducting the True Purpose? It's been 3 years, but I mean, did you do something in the making prior to that?
I was minister music here. I mean, I've been a minister music musician, choir director I've been playing since I was 5.
You're only 15, Meacham.
Yeah, right. I am 28 years old, and I've been playing for 23 years.
My Lord.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've been doing it for a little bit now. I was a minister of music at St. Paul Missionary Baptist Church here in Jacksonville for 5 years, and then I recently took on assignment here at the Bethel Baptist Institutional Church under Bishop Rudolph Waldo McKissick Jr. and Bishop Rudolph Waldo McKissick Sr. Before that, I went to school in Tallahassee for music education at FAMU.
All right, there's the shout out.
Hello. Was over the gospel choir, was a musician's gospel choir, was the president of the gospel choir, was a minister of music there at a local church, Greater Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church. I was there. I'm from Lakeland, Florida. I was the youth choir director, youth musician, regular choir director, regular musician. This is all I know.
And such a blessing. I had to tell the people that are listeners that I'm going to say Pastor or Minister Meacham Clark was a godsend to me in regards to the Dwayne Woods tour that we did. We came up against an obstacle that Satan tried to throw our way in Jacksonville, and I did my scouting just like I do for the show here, and I reached out to him and I said, I need some musicians and some backup singers. I need a plan. And he's like, well, we'll see. And prayed about it and showed out, and we had just a blessed evening there at Embassy Fellowship. And I just got to say, if I was to relocate, Meacham, you count this white boy there. Okay.
We are welcoming. Right. Come relocate to Jacksonville.
I'd be like your number one fan. I'd be like promoting and purposing to re-promote because God showed up that night there at Embassy.
That night was electric. You hear me?
Amen.
Electric.
Well, I have a quick question from a listener here, and it was, okay. You've done a lot of things in Jacksonville. Do you see God taking you to other foreign lands in regards to the music ministry that you currently conduct?
You know what? I believe in assignments, and I believe in seasons and stuff like that. I'm actually conditioning us because we recently recorded our first project in March that we're releasing at the end of this year. What I'm doing now is I'm preparing us to be ready and capable to go, to the different nations. Into different parts of the world and actually being effective there. So we're getting ready. We're studying, we're preparing, we're doing the things now that we need to do to be able to manage those moments with integrity.
Amen. We're going to take a station break here very shortly, and we're going to come back with a video segment clip of the How Sweet the Sound competition. You will be able to view it later on as we post the video, but we are live here at KTIA 99.3 and The View from the Pew with Meacham Lamar Clark all the way from Jacksonville, Florida. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns you'd like to ask him, you can call us at 855-244-0077. That's 855-244-0077. I'm going to get past this MLM obstacle, Bob.
I hope so.
Deliver me, Lord. Get me some anointing oil. Extra olive virgin oil now in the house. We'll be right back after this with more Meacham Lamar Clark and True Purpose coming up. You won't want to miss this video clip and the sound clip as well. Tune in here at The View from the Pew in 99.3 KTIA FM radio with Ray Plekas.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
Yes, now your favorite programs on Webcast One Live can all be watched and listened to on any Android or Apple device. Your phone, tablet, or iPad. Yes, your favorite shows on Webcast One Live are available live or on podcast wherever me introduce to you some of our great shows.
Shalom. Every week on Understanding the World with Rabbi David Kaufman, we'll talk about issues in the Middle East, issues related to the Jewish tradition and religious traditions in general, and keep you up to date on exactly what's going on around the world. You may know some of the story, but you haven't heard all of the story until you've heard it on Understanding the World with Rabbi David Kaufman and our special guests we have on every week.
Like right now.
Did you feel anything?
Yeah.
You did?
I was dealing with some back issues due to the depression that I'm in, and right now they're gone.
I had a sickness called Lyme disease. It was really bad, and I could have died of it, but God healed me of it.
So when you want to watch your favorite Webcast One program, remember, there's an app for that. You know, there's an app for that.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
We are back here at The View from the Pew on 99.3 KTIA FM radio. That was Meacham Lamar Clark and True Purpose at the House Suite, the Sound Choir competition. Meacham, did you arrange that?
I did.
He says with a big smile from the East Coast to the West Coast. I was like, is that Tiki in the dead center?
Yeah, that's her.
I thought I was like, I think Vicky's on there. Is Vicky in there or is that just Tiki?
No, that's just Tiki.
Okay. I was like, I recognize some of these people. So you made the arrangement, and the one song is Richard Smallwood, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What made you take a collaboration of musical sounds like that and put it together and then throw a Jamaican beat in there? I was like, yo, man.
Yo, man. Listen, first of all, Richard Smallwood, number one. is I have maybe like 5 major influences as it relates to music. Richard Smallwood is one of those 5. I love his music. He has a way of blending classical with gospel, with church, with just everything. He has that way of blending that. So I chose that song because that's one of the songs that's already in our repertoire already. So we sing that song a lot. So what I did was I just was like, really prayerful about it. And I was like, okay, how can I make this exciting? How can I make this wonderful, almost like a anthem-like song, a church anthem-like song is just notorious around the world. It just automatically kills. The song just has the capability of getting in your bones. And by the end of the song, you're going to automatically be on your face crying and snotting and saying, Lord, please help. So I did that, and I just was just kind of open to God to kind of share certain things with me about how to make it creative. Analytically, what I did was I looked at my choir. Anytime someone is arranging anything for their own choir, for their own ministry, you have to always look at what your choir is capable of, what their strengths are. My choir is crazy. They are crazy. They like energetic stuff. They love that type of stuff. So I was like, okay, let's see what we can do. I just sat, and at first, to be honest, I didn't like the arrangement and the things that God was, sharing with me, the things that God was kind of pouring into me and letting me hear. I was like, not really liking this. I didn't, truth be told, I didn't like the arrangement until I got home from after I slept. I didn't like the arrangement. So, I just did some very creative things. God allowed me to, stretch our gifts and to really, really stretch us to do that. But I couldn't tell you why I did it. But I just not.
Did it stretch your choir?
Absolutely. It stretched them. The choreography stretched them. The timing stretched them. The keys stretched them. The audience stretched them. The experience, it stretched us a whole lot. And that's what, we're really, really excited about.
What would you say was the biggest obstacle for them to overcome?
OMG. So the biggest obstacle for us to overcome, I'm going to kind of give your listeners a sneak preview. We got in sound check, right? Sound check, we were like the second to last quarter to sound check. And we went over our minutes.
Wow.
And the producer was like, he wasn't rude, he wasn't, disrespectful, but he was the producer that said, hey, y'all had 6 minutes. Cut something. And he said that in front of my choir. Now, mind you, this is a choir. We've never done a competition ever. We've never done a competition together as a choir. So, we hadn't traveled all the way 10 hours from Jacksonville to New Orleans. And when he said that to my choir, I literally saw their faces like, oh, God. And that was tough. It was a matter of you have to think really quick. This is what they told me. They told me, hey, you're at 6 minutes. It needs to be at 5. It needs to be, closer to 5. You need to cut something. You need to do something. And you got 10 minutes to do it. All right? We're going to sound check the next choir, and we're going to redo y'all again. But you got to come back on the stage, and you got to have a plan. Well, in about 7 minutes, I had to think of something different, and then I had to teach my choir whatever it was. And then we had to go up on the stage and do it as if that's what we practiced the entire time.
Wow. And it was but God.
Nothing. Literally, there's no possible way that any of us can take credit for it.
You love what you do.
I love what I do. I love who I serve.
You not only I studied theatrics for teaching, for education, and you speak not only articulately, but you speak through your eyes, you speak through your dialect, you speak through diction and poise, and the love and the charisma that comes out of your being is portrayed, and you can tell that you truly love what you do and who you do it for. You can tell that you are singing and ministering to an audience of one, that it's not necessarily that you're ministering to an audience of 501 or 5,001.
Right. I just believe that, and that's one of the things I tell a lot of my colleagues and, my mentees and my mentors. I just believe, the passion for what you do should always supersede the obligation for what you do. Everybody that whether it's music, whether it's dance, whatever it is, there should be no moment when someone catches you and you don't seem excited about what you're doing. I tell people all the time, like, at minimum, there are about 10 people that are looking at you that you don't even know are looking at you. And somewhere down the line, what you do and the way you act towards what you do and the God that you serve, they're going to make the decision to either do it with you or to follow your example, or they're going to make the decision to say, yeah, I don't kind of want that because I see how they don't really like what they're doing, but they're doing it.
That's right.
And that's the thing that keeps me accountable, if you will. It keeps me accountable to, this gift. I tell everybody all the time, this is a, and it's tough to hear, this is a rented gift. That if God wants to, he can take it away from me. He can take the effectiveness of music away from me. And with that, I have to always honor it and treat it with some type of sanctity and with some type of passion. The last thing I want is to buy somebody a very expensive gift and give it to them, and they treat it like crap.
Yeah.
Because then I'm going to say, give me my gift back, and I'm going to take it back and give my money that I worked really hard to get it, get it with.
And you could be an Indian giver.
Absolutely. The last thing we want sometimes, and the truth of the matter is, when I was going through, I used to be a bad kid in high school, like really bad.
Now, Meacham, how could that be? You look like a third grade teacher yourself. So, I mean...
Listen, I want you to understand, Meacham L. Clark was horrible. My mom will get on the phone right now and tell you he is not lying.
Give me her number. We're gonna get Mother Clark on the show right here and say, give us a testimony, Mother.
Please don't. She'll tell too much. So I was very bad, and I was very bad. Like, it wasn't like Grace. I was great with Grace. I just did whatever I wanted to do. And it was music that saved me and corrected me. I can remember there are times my mom used to, give me whooping. She used to discipline me a lot. One time I was in the principal's office, and my mom said to me, "You know what? I'm not taking the phone away. I'm not taking TV away. I'm not gonna give you a whooping. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna take that keyboard away." When I tell you, Meacham L. Clark hit the floor and screamed and kicked and was going, I'm like, "No, don't do that! Don't take that! You can't do that!" Oh God. Oh. And, music over the years has been my means. I have other gifts, but it has been my means of really, 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 really worshiping and getting to know God. At first, it's something that when you're young, it's something that you do really good, that you get applause for. And you just, I'm good at this, da, da, da. But when I turned like 18, 19, it was like, whoa, I'm understanding God through this gift. This gift is helping me understand who God is and how God is and, why God gives and why God takes away and, stuff like that. So I tell the people all the time, like I said earlier, this is a gift that I'm renting.
Question that just came to my phone from a text. If the government came tomorrow and said that you can no longer worship God publicly, what would Meacham Clark do?
If the government said that I could no longer worship God publicly, when you say publicly, what do you mean?
Well, I would say that they say publicly means, well, I think of corporate worship when people say publicly. But this came from Dallas, Texas, from another choir director, so I'm not going to text him back to ask him what he means.
No, please don't. If the government came back and said I could no longer worship publicly, I would be okay with that because, honestly, worship starts when I open my eyes in the morning. Like, my favorite place to worship is in my house. It's really in my house. I love worshiping with other believers. I love doing that. But when I have my best worship, I will be at home and I just go to talking and worshiping God as I'm getting dressed, as I'm watching TV. Like I just like talking to him. I like listening to him. I like, having that communication and having that time with him. So it's not so much for me. It's not so much the corporate entity. It's not so much as the corporate way of worship for me. I love it, but it's something that I do in private that gets me places that sometimes in corporate doesn't really get me. And then I'm reminded of the scripture that says, and the government shall be upon his shoulders. So I hope the government don't try to do that one because the Bible says a little different in that.
Yeah, I think there'd be quite a mighty wrath if that happened.
Yeah, that would be ugly.
You know, I was quickly reminded of the Dwayne Woods event that took place there in Jacksonville, and you stayed to the end of the event, didn't you?
I did not.
Okay.
I left early.
Well, I know that Vicky got back up and ministered, and I was unctioned to do the altar call, and I did the altar call for the conclusion of the evening, and actually a gentleman came up and gave his life to Christ, and there was about 3 recommitments, but the gentleman had never stepped foot in a church because his uncle was a pastor and he saw that his uncle was a heretic. And so he wanted absolutely nothing to do with church. And we're going to talk more about that after the station break here. We're going to take a quick break and come back more with Meacham L. Clark, gospel music extraordinaire from Jacksonville, Florida. And we're going to talk about this altar call that took place down in Jacksonville back in July. If you have any questions, you can call us at 855-244-0077. Get ready to tune in, turn on, but turn it up in Jesus' name. We're right here at KTIA FM 99.3 and The View from the Pew with Reich Plekas.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner and general manager of Service Legends. I brought along a couple of the home comfort heroes.
Hi, I'm Tammy Wells.
I am Nick Wondershot.
I'm administrative manager.
I'm the senior technician
from Service Legends.
It seems like every good thing, when you feel it to the bone that it's good, there's a lot of hard work put behind it. I don't think that you can fake it and have it turn out good.
You know, if we seem like, okay, that's just weird, it's just a furnace, why would you believe so deeply in a furnace? It's not just that, you know, we want to show the world that you can have good service.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be, it's your home.
You know, it's built into our daily trainings, it's built into our culture, that we're gonna do whatever it takes to have each client say they love us, period.
That's why we spend all the hours in the training that we do. And if we guarantee it's gonna be a good experience for you, or else it's free, what type of work do you think we're gonna do?
There is a guarantee.
Temperature selection guarantee, fixed rider it's free guarantee, comfort guarantee, best value guarantee. All of these guarantees hold us accountable to ensuring that we exceed your expectations. And if for whatever reason we'd fail and we can't make it right, we guarantee all of those guarantees with a 100% money back guarantee.
I mean, if you don't think that your technician can fix it right, are you gonna say that to a client? No.
You don't have to worry about having a technician come to your house.
We drug test, background check all of our team members. We put safe people in your home. Each and every one of our service techs, 400 hours a year in training.
You tell it the minute they walk in the door. They know what they're doing, they've done their homework, and they actually truly care about what you want.
Because at the end of the day, you're the person that makes sure I have a job.
They're gonna be listening. They're gonna wanna know what your challenges are. Then they're gonna come and give you options, and you get to choose.
If I'm there to help and I make it easy and painless, I did my job right that day.
Well, when it comes to your comfort, safety, and your family, you know, you don't necessarily go buy the most expensive, but you get the most bang for your buck.
Oh, it's worth it, because there's a lot of people that will find a way to get it to work right now and then leave and then come back, charge you again, and the cycle just repeats itself. So when I'm out there looking at the furnace, I want to find why it failed today. How can we change the part today with something that you're not going to have to worry about? Is it worth changing the part today? I mean, you can put a lot of money into a furnace. I can fix parts all day. There's good job security in that for me, but is it the right thing for you?
I get a lot of the phone calls of after the technicians are there. They're just in awe. They're like, wow, you guys are great. I mean, I don't even know what to say. You guys are great. Everything you did was perfect. It was great.
Keep going though, I like this.
Just give us a try. I'm gonna take all the risk.
I've got the time to make this right. I've got the support to make it right.
Just check us out.
And if you don't see the value in what we do,
I mean, fixed rider, it's free or 100% money back.
Enough said.
That is Andre Crittenden and the Law. That will also have special guest Jake Hughes in Warfare and Worship and Warfare, October 25th here in Des Moines at Burns United Methodist Church, 1909 Martin Luther King Jr. Parkway at, I said Burns United Methodist Church, with the pastor Angela Lewis as the pastor there. It's a $10 donation for all ages at the door. Please come out and experience the evening of warfare and worship there with Andre Crittenden and Jake Hughes. We are live right now with Bob Montserrat, my co-host, and also from Jacksonville, Florida, Meacham L. Clark, and talking about his experience with not only the gospel music industry, but his career and the King that he serves, but talking more so about the altar call that took place in Jacksonville during the Dwayne Woods event. And I wanted to share this little testimony because there was a gentleman that came forth that evening to give his life to Christ for the first time, and he had indicated that he really didn't step foot into church. He didn't partake within church events, that he saw his uncle, who was a pastor, and I don't know if they were from the Jacksonville area or what, but he saw his uncle as a heretic. And by means of how he treated his aunt and so on and so forth and the rest of the family. And he came forward to give his life to Christ that night. And I said during the evening's events that we were there to sing and minister to an audience of one, that we were not there to sing to the audience that was in the sanctuary. And that there was one person, one body, one being whose life was changed. That's what the whole purpose was about that evening, was it was called the Life Tour with Dwayne Woods. And this gentleman came forward and got to pray with Sunday's Best Artists, Jonathan Vickers. And Jonathan turned to me and said, "Reich, this gentleman's never given his life to Christ before." He's like, "Could you pray with him?" I'm like, "You're here. You're a minister. Do it." Right. And Jonathan looked at me, just as a big cuddly bear can do, and said, "Okay." And I said, "Okay, here, I'll help you out. Do you believe that Christ was born? Yes. Do you believe that Christ died for us? Yes. Do you believe that Christ rose again? Yes. Do you call him your Savior? Yes." I said, "There, you're born again." It's that simple.
Did you get the prayer right? It has to be right, or it's no good.
I think it was right. And the guy looked at me, Bob, and said, "Is it that simple?" And I think sometimes, and we were talking before the segment break about corporate worship, that we get so involved with the logistics and the semantics of everything that's going on that we put so much of the corporation into prayer or into leading a salvation prayer.
You're saying the corporation, or you mean just man's getting in the way?
Man's getting in the way, yes.
Okay.
You always have a way of making me on the straight and narrow. Thank you. You got to love him.
You got to speak English to me.
So anyway, we get so involved with doing man's work for God that we just take the simplest task and make it so complex. And Jonathan's like, "Is that it? Are we done?" The gentleman, I told him to pray for the guy, I said, "That's it. You're saved." So I said, "Now just minister to him." And so Jonathan, the gospel musician, got to just minister and love on this gentleman. And the guy has now been going back to Apostle Garland Scott's church since that event. But I say that because of the simple fact that, I think if the government, whoever maybe was to ever say a shutdown, they'd probably imprison me because I have to do what I'm unctioned to do when I'm told to do it.
Yeah, I could see you in jail. Yeah.
Yeah.
Easily.
Well, I do wear orange well.
Oh, God.
Maybe not green. But, I say that for the simple fact that, that's what that evening was all about, was maybe just that one gentleman coming forth and giving his life to Christ. Back in May with Molly Music, there was a gentleman there, and he came in stumbling drunk, and he misrepresented himself, saying he was there to help the disc jockey with the MC and load in things and blah, 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 woo, woo, woo. Total misrepresentation. We said, "Hey, we'll give you a free ticket if you walk people around with an umbrella in the rain." And we let him in, and he ended up getting ugly and videotaping. We had to take his cell phone away from him, and the security was going to put him out because Molly Music was actually releasing some music that night that he has not released yet. And security was going to throw him out. And I said, "No, I've never, in the 9 years that I've worked in the gospel music industry, thrown somebody out. I don't want to be said that we threw somebody out of church." I said, "You give me your phone, you go back in, enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll hold your phone personally." He said, "Are you going to erase the pictures in the video?" And I said, "Hallelujah." And I did. So, but he actually has been going back to Apostle Garland's church as well, saying that, he was ministered to that evening, that he didn't get put out of church. Here he came for a place of safe haven and came for a looking of a change, and that Pastor Garland ministered to him in a different way. And here it took somebody from a different region to say, we're not going to throw this guy out for doing something wrong. And I just think that that's where God, is kind of like meeting. He's like the rubber meets the pavement, meets the road, and gives us that level of interpretation to say, okay, what can we do differently that we didn't do different before to make a different outcome? And so that's why I like doing what I do, and looking at the choirs and the authors and the pastors and apostles that I get to come in contact with. And I had to say, Meacham, when I saw that video of the choir and saw the arrangement, and music was my minor in college.
Wow. Okay.
And so I looked at this. I said, he did not throw a Jamaican beat in here. I mean, you could have gone into a syncopated backbeat with Donna Summers or something like that, and really mixed that up. But I mean, you threw in some Jamaican Yeoman beat and just rocked that choir. Now, go ahead.
A lot of that ties into one of the reasons that I did a lot of that stuff, because I believe in intentionality. I think a lot of times, and especially with what you just said about the different events at Embassy Fellowship, I think a lot of times as gospel artists or as musicians, we try to protect the glory, or we try to protect God, and we create little small boxes as if we run into situations where people might not come the way we're normally used to them coming. But because we're so protective of what we know as the glory, or what we know as man-made corporate worship, or whatever it may be called, we miss those people that come and give their life to God. They might come through a different channel. They might come with a different issue or whatever, and we miss that. And a lot of times we miss the mark, not because we aren't good, but because we don't appeal to everybody. And that's really, 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 really what really was the intentional part about the arrangement. Although I didn't like it, I was like, okay, maybe the song is slow. Maybe it won't appeal to someone who has that Jamaican kind of feel to it. Maybe we're in New Orleans. Maybe somebody likes the whole big band kind of feel. So let's do that. Maybe somebody just won't get it unless it's really churchy. Let's do that, So that's really, I love that audience of one thing, and I love that. That's incredible to me.
Now you were in New Orleans at that competition, correct?
Yes.
What other choirs were there? I know that I've had a great experience in Chicago and New York and LA. Who all was there in New Orleans with you?
New Orleans, there was a choir. The winning choir was actually Joshua Kagler and Harmonistic Praise Crusade. They're from New Orleans, and when I tell you, they are insane. I mean, like, incredible. A friend of mine, when I was in Tallahassee, I told you I went to school at FAMU. A friend of mine pastors a church there, Pastor Lamar Simmons. He pastors a church there. His church choir was there. So it was two choirs from Florida. Tallahassee is literally 2 hours away from Jacksonville. So they were there, Love and Faith Community Church Choir. As well, there was a choir called Strong Tower Chorale.
Yep.
They were there. There was a couple of other choirs that I didn't get a chance to meet them because they were like on a whole other side of wherever.
Another platform. We are live with Meacham Lamar Clark from Jacksonville, Florida, talking about How Sweet the Sound competition and also about what Jesus does in the career that he's chosen to serve. We'll take your questions at 855-244-0077 right after this.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Drink, dance, party. Kitty's is the ultimate dance club in Des Moines. A huge dance floor with room to move, 3 bars to keep your drinks full, and kickin' DJs playing all your favorite dance music. At Kitty's, we've always got your birthday party planned with Birthday Fridays. That's right, when your birthday rolls around, there's only one place to go. Gather up your friends and head to Kitty's, where you drink free on the Friday of your birthday week. Find out more about Birthday Fridays at kittiesusa.com. Kitty's, all kinds of people, all kinds of music, all kinds of fun.
Drug and alcohol addiction slowly steals a person's identity. tearing away pieces of their life little by little until one day it seems like the hope of a happy future is gone and there's no chance of getting it back. Here at St. Gregory Retreat Centers, we can assure you that there is hope. Our unique approach to recovery begins with the understanding that the dysfunction and damage caused by addiction can be overcome, not just dealt with. Don't let another day go by. Call St. Gregory today.
If you choose to obey the power of sin, it leads to death. If you choose to obey obedience, it leads to righteousness.
Forgiveness is just the beginning of life in Christ. God wants us to live for Him now.
And because of Jesus Christ, the gospel was preached, and you and I are blessed today because of Abraham. Did you know that? We're blessed.
Experience Truth, 99.3 FM.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Welcome to The View from Pew.com and KTIA Radio 99.3 FM. I'm your host, Reich Plekas, each and every Wednesday and Thursday from here on out on The View from Pew.com and KTIA at 3 p.m. Join me as I present the greatest gospel artists, small groups, musicians, pastors, authors, apostles, and more, bringing to you the clear and concise Word of God locally. Join me, www.theviewfromapew.com and KTIA Radio 99.3 FM at 3 p.m. I hope you'll join me to spread the word, powered by G-Fest and WebcastOneLive.com. We're back here at The View from the Pew and also KTIA 99.3 FM radio. And Bob's got a question for you, Meacham.
Hi, Meacham, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. I was talking to Reich during the last break, and I was wondering, when you go in to minister with the group, do you usually, or do you always pre-plan what you're going to sing, or is it something that you allow the Spirit to move you and select the songs in that sense? How does that work?
It is a combination of a lot of things. First and foremost, one of the things that I derive even our choir rehearsals and our preparation from is worship and study time. I don't know if people kind of notice, but sometimes if you kind of just become very sensitive to what's going on in the world and what's going on around you, God usually is trying to speak through a lot of that stuff. So a lot of times I usually won't teach a song unless I feel it's the season for us to sing that song. So from there, from the rehearsal time, events, come up and, we get invited to the different events. And somebody will literally say, this is a women's event, or this is a young adult event, or this is a youth event, or this is a senior citizen event, or this is an event for, some type of health function or some type of sickle cell, breast cancer, some type of awareness. And from there, I just literally will, really become prayerful about what's the best thing to say to God, what's the best thing to say to God's people, and what's the best thing for you and God's people to say to God. So I usually am very prayerful unless somebody asks me to sing a special request. I hate special requests, but I always honor them. The people always specifically request the song that we sing a whole lot, or that the one that we just, oh my God, we're tired of singing. But usually it's very prayerful. I try not to get so blocked into what I want to sing versus what I need to sing.
Mm-hmm.
It demands a lot in terms of preparation, because sometimes the song I need to sing is not the song that I practice. So I have to sometimes practice almost everything just in case it calls for that particular message to be sent out at that time.
Well, that takes a long time then, right? To practice everything.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, so
we get in rehearsals. When we rehearse on Friday, Saturday. We rehearse like every other weekend. We start rehearsals on Friday at 8:30 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be in there until about 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Then we come back on Saturday. We wake up late because we, sleep in Saturday. We wake up late. We come back at 3, and then we're out about maybe 7. So that between those 2 days, that's about maybe 10 hours worth of practice.
Wow. Are you pretty tough on your people? Are you pretty strict?
Okay, so I have to tell the truth, right?
Well, Jesus is listening too.
Okay, because I think some of my people are watching or listening, and listeners might hear me now, and I sound very nice and very whatever, but I am the worst.
I want to know about the beatings.
Oh God, I am the worst. No, you don't want to know about that, but I am the worst. I am very sick. And I think if they're listening, they're gonna love me even more because I'm finally admitting it. Listen, I've been in concerts, and I will publicly say to the congregation or to the audience and say, I love my choir. I'm not mean to them at all. And my choir would literally walk off stage. Wait, y'all got to play along. One time I asked them, I say, hey, I'm real nice, ain't I, y'all? And I winked at them like, y'all say yes. They scream, no. I said, no.
So you have very high standards, very high standards.
Very strict, very high standard. I don't, if it's not your best, don't give it to me.
Well, my minister of music always used to say, when you're a king's kid, you have the highest standards.
Yes, God.
So you have the right to treat people in the manner in which you treat them.
Jesus, don't tell me.
I mean, if you are royalty, you do walk and you are perceived a little bit differently than the rest of the people, aren't you? I mean,
absolutely.
Unless you're like Ariel, from Little Mermaid, and you jumped off the boat or jumped on the boat or something like that and wanted to be disobedient and a reprobate and everything else. So,
right.
I kind of see it as, if you want to be a Navy SEAL, you know what I mean?
Right.
You have to really train and you have to go for it. And
so you're saying Meacham is like a Navy SEAL?
Well,
No.
the people that are with him have to be SEALs, and he's the one that has to decide who passes.
Now that is one of the things that I will say this about my choir. They have, I have to admit this, and I hope they're listening because this is the only time I'm going to admit it. I'm very tough, and I've been very tough because I believe that, if you have the gift, it is your responsibility to make sure that when you give it back to God and to God's people, it is the best gift that you actually possibly have. That means you're working hard to make sure. It's almost like a car to me. It's like, I'm not going to have a Ferrari. I'm not going to have a BMW, but treat it like crap, and it doesn't run properly. Somebody's salvation actually depends on the excellence of your ministry.
Yeah.
And that's the way I treat it. Now, the other thing is, my choir members, if I ever act like I don't care about a small nuance, if I ever act like I'm going to let something slip, that's my way of punishment. Because they know, oh, my God, Meacham is finna let us get away with this. Oh, my God, we need to get it together because Jesus is coming back really soon. So let's, and they'll challenge themselves. They'll tell me, there have been events where I kind of challenge them a little bit mentally, and I'm like, I let them get to an event and they'll be sounding not so good. And I say, well, we're not going to have any more rehearsals. I'll just get up and sing the way I want to sing. And they're like, no, we're calling the rehearsal if you don't come or not. We're doing.
We've been talking with my brother from another mother, Meacham Lamar Clark, and talking about True Purpose's choir. I want to remind you that Sunday, December 15th at 7 p.m., the doors are opening at 6:30. He's having the finale with True Purpose, their Christmas cantata. The admission is free. VIP seats are limited at $25 at Bethel Baptist Institutional Church at 215 Bethel Baptist Street, Jacksonville, Florida. For more information, you can find it out at www.meachamclark with an E on the end.com or call 904-8. I can't see the number. And I just lost the screen. 904-849-5488. It's 904-849-5488. Meacham, it has been a pleasure having you on the show today, and even more so just getting to know more about you. I look for greater things to come. I'm coming back down your way, so I will be knocking on your door, hitting up your cell phone, and reminding your choir how mean you are.
Oh, no.
So doing some more works, especially in Miami, and I know that they are anxious to meet you because I had bragging rights, I have to tell you that. So I said, you got to get to know him. So we're going to get you down to Miami.
Cool.
So anything you want to say real quick? We got about 30 seconds or less. You want to send a shout out to Mom or?
Yeah. Hey, Mom. But I really want to send an encouragement to anybody who is who is trying to find your purpose and who is trying to do things, trying to live your dreams, go after it and go after it with
You heard it right there from Meacham Clark. Go after it. Amen.